All right, welcome in everyone for my first playthrough, day 2 of Subnautica Below Zero. Barely scratched the surface on the game. So far, we've just gotten alien AI that is injected itself into my body, thinking it was going to go into a tablet, my PDA, and it did it without my permission. We left off, we were trying to build a few things here, so we have to... And I also died trying to find some of my stuff, so we have to kind of look around. And I have to figure out what I've got and what I need before we keep moving. So gotta get a little bit of food prepped. So we're gonna eat the cooked one. Alright, so I think I got the computer chips. Yeah, I've got the 2 computer chips. Alright, what else do I need? Lead. Got the lead. Alright, I've got... Do I have... Yeah, I have the lead. Okay. So I need titanium ingot. What do I need? I don't remember. Well, I don't remember how much. I know what I need. I just don't remember how much. There we go. Alright, so I need 2 pieces of lithium. I think that was what... That was the problem. I don't have the lithium. You're a dead battery, so you don't need to stay with me. Alright. So I need to go see. First, I need to eat some food to be able to move around and go out there further. But I also want to see. I don't want to change the name. I want to see if I have any. Okay, that storage unit's empty. Right. That one's empty too. That one's not empty. Alright, perfect. I don't have any lithium in there. I don't think I have. Nope. And I know. Well, I don't know. I don't think I have any lithium or anything. No, that one's empty. What's in this one? Anything? Yeah, but not what I need. Alright. Let's try to grab some fish here. If we can find them. Fish I'm looking for. There you go. I will also need to potentially find some salt. How much water do I have? We're just gonna... Where's that beacon thing at? I don't remember. That way. Alright. Let's just take our chances and see what happens. But we have to remember to stay underwater. And the only thing that would get me to turn around at this point is if I was to find the piece of lithium that I... Yeah, lithium that I need. Because then I could theoretically start working on...
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Crap. I wasn't paying attention. Then I could potentially start working on the mobile truck maybe, anyway. I have to see what resources I would need to do it. Yeah. Say this, the resources seem like they're actually pretty plentiful in this game, which is kind of nice, because they're a little harder to find, but as I'm sure I progress, it will probably get harder. And I also got to pay attention to my oxygen levels because I'm running around again. Let's get up to the surface just to replenish, and then we're going to get moving. This is cool. Kinda. I wonder what's all here. We're gonna take a look. Food. That will come in handy. Flare. That will come in handy as well. Anything I can scan? No, but there's a PDA, or not a PDA, but a blueprint, basically. We gotta go up because the oxygen supplies. Oh shit. That wasn't. Oh, and you know what? There's more shit too. More beacon stuff. There we go. I think that said inventory was full, and it did. Oh shit, what the hell is that? Oh, it's a sea monkey. As far as I know, those are nothing to worry about as of yet.
Oxygen.
So, I had to go back down because of the temperature. My bag is also full. So, depending on what we find here, we may have to drop some more stuff, but we'll get there. It's a new PDA. What's that? That's new. Alright, let's see. Can I scan any of this? Doesn't look like it. Let's surface again real quick. And then after we replenish my oxygen, we will start the trip back down. Tech here. Alright, let's take a look around. See, what was that? Oh no. It's the root. Okay. Got it. Got parts to make the laser cutter, at least one part to make the laser cutter. Do that. Where? Two, two. I know where I want to go. It's just a matter of figuring out how to get where I need to go. Well, I don't need any more titanium, so that's fine. Silver, where'd it go? Okay, silver's pretty hard to find. Glass seems easy. There's gonna be an oxygen plant around here somewhere. Because otherwise we're in trouble.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Yes, there is good shit.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Working on it. Not that it's gonna give me much longer, but good, there's another one. What do you got here? That might be a third piece I need for the laser cutter. Good shit. We got it. We'll scan it. Okay, we'll not scan it. It's
synthesized.
just an egg. Alright, where? We still need to go down, but we're almost out of oxygen. And that plant hasn't come back yet.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Alright, we need to... That plant's back, okay. Good, it's back now. Alright. What is this?
More than just an artifact. It will help me follow the traces my people left on this planet.
I'm glad it could help.
I know you would still prefer me to have a corporeal form of my own.
Well,
You're damn
yes.
straight.
If you continue searching, I may regain some of my connection to the network, piece by piece.
Okay.
Alright, let's see. I need to find my way out.
Oxygen.
I know. Can I use...
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Okay, good. That was a good reason to pick those up. Another good reason. Now it will help. Give me a minute longer to figure out how to get out of here. titanium. Gold I'm perfectly fine with. I just don't need titanium. I need a piece of lithium. That's the thing I need. Alright, where is...
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Yep. There's an oxygen plant. Okay, as long as I can make it to the plant, I can get out of here. I should be good.
Seek fluid intake.
Fine, let's find my way.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Now I don't have any, There we go.
Oxygen.
Go, Will.
Vital signs stabilizing.
One more piece of lithium. I mean, actually my inventory's full, so... We're also gonna need another... My inventory's full. That's right. Egg. Copper's fine at the moment.
Oxygen.
Nope. What I need is, can I make a... I need a ribbon plant. I need another battery. I think I need 2 ribbon plants, though, if I'm not mistaken. Should be one down here. Somewhere. Definitely went down further than I needed to for what I was looking for. What's that? That's new. Okay, well, it's the mobile vehicle bay fragment. So not really new, but... I
Warning.
saw
30
that.
seconds of oxygen remaining.
I don't know what it was, but I saw it. Oh, my stuff still wasn't full. Alright.
Oxygen.
We got it. We'll make it. There we go. Leave me alone now. I can't do anything to it, so just gotta run. Okay. All I'm looking for is one. But I know I'm too far probably to find one of those things now. But we'll try. We'll keep looking. Might be one. There we go. Alright. I don't need any more titanium.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Should be okay. I think.
Oxygen.
Not quite. Right, now we're good. I go back here, gotta make another battery for this.
How do your people communicate if you are not networked?
What do you mean? We just talk to each other.
Do you not find that primitive? We exist as data. We are all aware of each other's thoughts and needs. Scientific endeavors are accomplished much more smoothly this way.
There's more to life than research, Alan. I
there
can't
is.
lie. Work would go faster if I could read my colleagues' minds, but thoughts are private. And
Yeah.
people have their own inner lives.
I don't want to read
People
anybody's
change,
mind.
and
No
people
thanks.
need space to think.
Space helps you think. I find that being separated from my network is very quiet.
What do you mean by quiet?
Imagine 1,000 strings, each playing its own range of notes, none louder than the others. Each one builds harmony, a continuous thrum in the background of existence. I am now a lone string in search of familiar harmonies.
I'll help you find them.
I'm gonna open. There we go. Now I want to keep you with me. Perfect. There's a couple more. Alright, now let's go grab some more. That's fine. I don't really need it where I'm at. How much salt do I have? 4 pieces. Alright. So I want 4 more of those fish. I just lost that one. That gets me enough to make a spare battery though, so we're probably gonna do that before we...
Oxygen.
Just one more. I guess I can go with really any fish, but... Alright, let's cure me some food. So we can have some food for the journey. Not that food is really a problem at the moment. The battery, to make sure I have a spare, I need 1 piece of copper. That's fine. Grab the piece of copper. We'll stash the gold. Alright, there we go. We got 2 bottles of water. Have to stash a little bit more stuff when we go to leave, but that's fine. Battery. So I got 2 batteries, one of which is gonna go... No, crap, that's not what I was gonna do. Open you. No, I want you to stay with me. Stash you. Stash a good portion of the flares. Perfect. Alright, now we'll go ahead and we'll go to you. Swap out the battery. That is fine. Alright. That being said, let's do a quick save. And now, where are we going? We're gonna go back toward these two beacons here in hopes that I can find... Shit, need that. In hopes that I can find some... What is it? I gotta make sure I know what I'm talking about here. Lithium. I need one more piece of lithium. Even though last time I went this way, I got my shit wrecked by something. I didn't get a good look at what, but whatever it was, it wrecked my shit. Grab a couple of those on the way. Because even raw, or uncooked, so raw, will give me oxygen. If I get in a pinch. That one we want to go toward. Trying to remember.
Oxygen.
Well, right now it doesn't matter. I think it's... I think I found some lithium that way. We can take a chance and find out. Worst case, we just do some exploring and we find other stuff. Nothing wrong with finding other stuff. Titanium I don't really need right now. I'm not gonna worry about it. Alright. Want to avoid that shark thing. You... Gold is good, but gold is not what I'm looking for. Gotta be careful down here too, because they get very easily turned around underwater. I don't really need to scan you. Do want to scan you though. I didn't know. Now I know I've got you finished. This is all the shit I dropped. I should have... Well, I think.
Seek fluid intake.
That's the case. I should have...
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Gonna chance it. Oh, there's an oxygen plant. That's fine. That's also why I brought the fish with me. Nope, time to go.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Are not equipped for down here. Two reasons. One, oxygen. And two, whatever the hell that shit is. I'm gonna probably... Trouble. I'm gonna drown. Good move. And the sad part is I just dropped stuff because I drowned, and I don't know what I dropped yet. And I don't even know what I had in my inventory fully. So I lost pretty much everything. Okay. That's fine. We'll make it work. Uh, let's see. Really, all I need so I can get back there easier is I need a piece of... What the heck is it again? Lithium. I need one more piece of lithium so I can get back to what I need. So I can build part of what I need. Oh, it really? That blows. I need to find my way back to that. Where was I? Now I do need to go back because it made me drop my extra battery. That was not expected, and I'm pretty sure I was by this cache here. I'm gonna stock up on as many fish as I can because I want that battery back. I mean, I want the other stuff back too, but the battery, you know, takes precedence. I think it was that way.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Yep, working on it. So I know we're not exactly in the right area, but I think we're on the right track. And I also dropped stuff here too, so. I mean, worst case, I can't find the battery and that stuff. I will eventually find it, but still. I don't think it was... Oh, yeah. So... I know I dropped stuff down here at one point. I don't think I actually made it back down here to try to reclaim any of it either. There's an oxygen plant that will help. I think it's time to go at least up a little bit. I don't think I'm gonna find anything there. I think I already got this, but... Nope, staying away from that. I'm pretty sure that's what killed me the one time. I may just have to let the battery go for now. Until I can be more equipped to explore down here. Just sucks,
Warning.
because
30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
that was stuff I could have used. We're gonna have to lunge up to the surface and then back down, because otherwise I die from cold. So it's either I die from running out of oxygen or I die from drowning. That's nope. I want to kind of. I could find volcanic activity. That would help. No, let's try following it. Well, not really following it, but that's just a drop beacon. That wasn't the diamond one. I might regret this, but you know what? Screw it. Where are you? Don't need you. Wait, what the fuck is that? That is new. I have never seen that before. I have no idea what the fuck that was. We're gonna keep our distance from that. Shit. We're out of here. I'm done exploring down here for now. I want my stasis rifle. I want my better sea vehicle before I come back down here. I don't stand a chance against any of this stuff. So what that means is that now I need to find like a lava pocket or something like that to try to find the last bit of lithium. I don't know where any of that's at, sadly, because I haven't figured that out yet in this game. Well, I found some here and there, but I died and I lost the last piece I needed. So that didn't help. My inventory's full. Okay. Let's grab this oxygen while we're still here. It's fine, it's just titanium. It's the one resource I don't need at the moment. And of course I don't have Oh, it wants to give me something. Okay. Um, I didn't know they would give me stuff. Hmm. And I have to go back to that way. That's going to be a fun trip, though, because I have no battery, so it's going to be a long swim. Can I... Copper's harder to find, so... We're heading back to the life pod over here to make a new battery and drop off any stuff, and then we're just gonna go in an unknown direction because I've already been everywhere and I can't. And the blah. We're going to go away from where I was going and try to go into a new direction because I've already been toward all those beacons, so it's not helping me find the resource I need. So we're just gonna go look another place. So I really want to be able to. I actually want to see. Okay, I can make another battery. Good. And I already have one computer chip. I can make the wiring kit. So I can make that. So maybe I can stop having to just make. Maybe I can stop having to just make batteries all the time. Oh, it's here. Maybe I can.
Emergency shelter blueprints to your databank.
That's fine, but that's not what I want to see.
You can construct sea bases from raw materials, advising against exploring a frozen water continent without a base. No bed, no storage, no place to put a fabricator module. No fun.
Well, that's definitely true. No fun with all that, so. But what I want to see is if I have the blueprint for it, I don't need you anymore. I don't know if I have it yet. I can't make you because I don't have the lithium. I need one more piece of lithium. I can make the battery charger though. We're gonna try to make the battery charger. I need silver. So I need one more piece of silver. Alright, so I got silver out here somewhere. Might even be in this one that's labeled salt. Yep. Oh. There's the battery. I didn't... That was genius of me. I didn't lose the battery in the way I thought I did. I stuck it in the storage unit. Smooth. That's fine. Let's make the copper wire. And we'll make the wiring kit. Alright, let's see. Where's the base building tool? Can go here for now. I not build it in here? Okay. That's gonna make things a little more interesting. Because I can't build it in here. Alright, so we're gonna have to kind of build like an impromptu, shit, wrong button. Build like an impromptu base unit out here just so I can put a battery charger on the wall.
Warning, emergency power only. Oxygen production offline.
It's fine, I can deal with that in a minute. I'm out of titanium. Alright. This is just temporary anyway, because I just need a place to get stuff established. So that's good. So now, to get power, I need... Okay, that's fine. I can do that. What else do I need? Titanium. Alright. I didn't grab it, apparently. Let's give you power. There we go. That should at least be able to generate oxygen right now. Right now, rather. Couple dead batteries. Stash you. I've got 3 dead batteries. Let's go. Doesn't have power yet, but we'll get there. I wonder if this is nighttime, it doesn't have power. Probably. That being said, let's grab... Go. Anium. Alright, so we got an ad about to start here in a minute, everyone. It'll be about 3 minutes. And that'll give me a few minutes to go ahead and just stretch and take care of a few things while the ad is going on. I appreciate everyone sticking around. When it does come up in about 40 seconds, hopefully I'll see everyone when the ad is over. Alright, now we can kind of dump some stuff here. Like, this is definitely something I learned from the first playthrough, though. Well, not this game, of the first Subnautica, was I needed resources earlier on, and I didn't get them. I didn't organize properly to be able to have the proper resources. Alright, ad should be starting any minute here, everybody. We're gonna go back into the base just so I don't run out of oxygen. While we wait, and we're gonna actually clear up a couple things. Okay, that's the generator kicking in.
restored. All primary systems online.
There we go. That part's good. So we have power now, so that means my batteries will recharge. Alright, let's see. I still need... make... wonder if I can... no, I need one more plan for you. I could make you, but I don't know what the purpose of making the mobile vehicle bay would be yet, and I don't want to build that until I need it. Alright, let's see. Alright, so we're in a quick ad break here. Everyone, thanks for sticking around. I'll see everyone in about 3 minutes.
Calorie intake recommended.
Alright, thanks for sticking around, everyone. We are back. We're gonna jump back in here. And we are gonna just see what's next. I know I need lithium, which I have one piece. I have to find another piece, which I'm still trying to find. I died yesterday, or the other day when I was playing the game, and now I can't find another piece. I can't make... well, I can make the mobile vehicle bay. I don't want to make the mobile vehicle bay because I don't think I have any vehicles I can make with it yet. Because I've got the fabricator module here for the sea truck. I just don't have all the stuff. Alright, so I guess we're just gonna go... well, actually, I don't think I saved it, so we're gonna do a quick save. I gotta eat before I starve.
Vital signs stabilizing.
And I also need some more water. So we're gonna make some water up here. That should be plenty. Excuse me, let's get some more salt real quick so I can see if I have any more salt. I know there's nothing in that locker, okay. There's salt there, alright, that's fine. So I kind of just have to make do with what I've got for now. We've been that way, we've been that way. Alright, we're just gonna go this way. Oh, you know what? I never swapped out the battery. I haven't been this way. I have no idea what's going to be this way, but we're going to find out. I just know I have to be careful with oxygen. Speaking of that, I need oxygen, and I'm under a piece of ice. That's not going to help me. What's that? We'll find out in a minute. Can't stay up there for long. Not interested in the creature egg right now. Okay, that glitched and went in the map. Alright. Some salt, which will come in handy. Quartz of glass. I mean, hey, that's new. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't know that they could fall. It's a good thing to avoid them, because they'll probably kill you on impact. We do that. Alright, let's go. Oxygen's been replenished. We can now try to go down here. I don't need you. You're a beacon or a sea moth, sea glide fragment. I haven't seen any sea moths yet in this game. Not gonna lie, I kinda want one though. Handy. That's an egg. I don't need the egg right now. Eggs are very easy to find in this game anyway. I'm gonna try to find, and I've yet to find it. I may have to. Need titanium. I may have to go. What was that? I can scan something. What did I miss? Not sure. Fine, we have to see if we can find it on the way. He's finding air, which will give me enough to, okay, eventually get out of here. See, I'm hearing either that's the monsters or that's like magma or lava stuff. If it's lava, it is. Good shit. There could be. There's a chance there could be lithium here then.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
That's not good. I wasn't paying attention to my oxygen. Gotta find an oxygen plant or I'm gonna drown. There's an oxygen plant. Good. It can't stay there. There's nothing I need there, so.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Luckily, I know what that is. I just need to stay away from it. Need. I think we're just gonna have to make our way to. I don't need you. You're just gonna give me pieces of titanium, so. I think we're gonna have to make our way back toward one of the places I haven't been back by yet. Which was the emergency supply cache, I believe, or it was either the emergency supply cache or the creep vine. We're gonna go take a look at the creep vine area, and if I don't find it, we'll go to the emergency supply cache.
Seek fluid intake.
Alright. Grab some more use. This way I can be prepped with batteries to make more batteries should I need them, even though I really shouldn't need them now. Apparently I missed that one. That's fine. There's, yeah, my inventory's full too. Alright. We can drop the quartz. Because that's a very abundant resource I've discovered so far in this game. And if we fill up again, we're gonna drop whatever titanium I pick up.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
It's fine. We can make it. Ah, that's cool. That is cool. The Aurora Borealis stuff there, that is freaking cool. It's really cool. I've not seen that ever, like, looking like that. Not even in like real life. That was definitely worth going up for air for. Alright, let's head toward this beacon here. Might have a, since I got a little bit sidetracked on direction. Want you. That will come in handy. That should be the last blueprint I need for that. Yes, good. Means I can put a trap down, which will help catch food for me. So all I'll have to do is cook it and whatnot. Get away from that. Because that just explodes and I don't really want to deal with it. Found out the hard way what happens when you get too close to it, so that's why I don't bother staying close to them anymore. I've already pretty much explored down here. So we're just gonna still head toward this beacon and then maybe eventually we'll, I think my no, not yet. Then we'll go further down when we get closer. What I needed... No, I needed lithium. I've got all the lead I need. I need one more piece of lithium. It's very hard to find in this game.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Okay, we're good. My train just... Hey. Oh crap, the battery died. The batteries die a heck of a lot faster in this game. I'll tell you that right now. But that kind of makes sense with it being cold, you know? I don't know if I have. Okay, I do have that. Hmm. Got myself all turned around again. Too easy to happen underwater. I'm not worried about you.
Vital signs stabilizing.
That's just this time. Let's just stay like on track for this beacon and not go cave exploring, since it really didn't find anything I was looking for. And get closer to the beacon, we can look around, but yeah, let's not turn around and look at whatever it is. Could be. That's lead. I will need the lead too, though.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Care about you. And if need be, I can drop some of the salt too. What are you? Not worried about you. You're just gonna give me more titanium. I don't need any more titanium right now. Same thing. More titanium.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining. oxygen.
Got it. We haven't even made it. We just keep kind of going around in a giant circle, not even making it toward what I'm trying to make it towards. Copper, that's a, I mean, it's common, but it's less common than titanium, so. All I want is one piece of lithium right now. I'm sure I'm gonna need more, but. That's so it means I'm probably on the right track. I'm pretty sure I found lithium from that stuff before. Maybe. Honestly, don't remember. Let's go take care of oxygen. I don't think I've actually been fully down here. It looks like maybe I have been. You know, we can take a look while we're down here, though, because I have found lithium down here before. That's the supply cache. Alright, so we're gonna head toward the Delta Station dock then, because that's the only place left I haven't checked today for the resources I need. I can't advance or go further exploring to find stuff without it, so. Keep an eye on my oxygen. So, can't stay on the surface because freezing up there and I'll die from the ice instead of dying from drowning, so. Let's just take a... Lead is something I'm gonna need more of, so I will take that over the titanium. Fuck it, we're gonna take my chances because I could very well find what I'm looking for down here. Let's see. Drop the ribbon plants. Oh shit, I didn't want to drop the health.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
So we have to...
Oxygen.
I know, I just need to wait for this to get out so I can try and do something stupid.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining. Oxygen.
I might be in trouble here. Well, no, I'm not might in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm gonna... I drowned. And I just lost a bunch of shit because I drowned. Alright.
Able to sense the location of an important artifact. I will share its coordinates so you can look into it.
Got it.
Okay. Oh, shit. I lost
Simulation uploaded to
a
PDA.
ton of stuff. That's crappy, but I have to deal with it. Where are we? Okay, so we'll try to go to this one. Maybe there'll be... Maybe it'll have the resource I need there, because I'm not really finding the stuff I need, so... Of course, you know, it doesn't help dropping in, like, you know, right into, like, active volcanoes and running out of oxygen and drowning underwater and losing a shit ton of resources either. But what are you gonna do? Probably do the same thing again at some point. Grab this oxygen plant real quick before I keep moving. I mean, the plus side is the plants do come back. Here. I knew what that was, and I still Well, I didn't know what it was until I saw it move at me. Like, god damn. Nope, not making that mistake again. I don't know if I have any. So I have. I'm gonna have to take the battery out of the flashlight or something. But we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. Where? Get unstuck. So it's not here. Let's get to the circus so I can try to figure out better where I need to go. Well, that's not. Now that I see that, let's just follow the. Like alien tech shit. This isn't. I don't. This is the one I was looking for, but this one will work. Or at least it'll give me a minute. All right. Not the smartest move to do, but it's done. Alrighty, but I'm fairly certain I've already been to this one. Yeah. So I followed the alien tech to a place I've already been. Alright, so right idea, just not where I needed to go. Definitely not against getting more lead. Not what I need, though. That's the thing. And my battery died. Alright, so we're gonna do this. Not the greatest thing to do,
Warning.
but
30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
for now we're just... Oh, it didn't switch the battery out. Crap. What in the... Okay. I gotta get back underwater because I wasn't paying attention. Where is this? That way. There's a possibility that this ore or whatever here, some of it could contain what I'm looking for. Let this do its thing.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Alright, so we finally made it to the station area. I can't stay up here because I will die. And I can't go into the station area because if I try, it will kill me. Because it doesn't know who I am and it won't let me in. Alright, now... Where is... Where'd it go? I don't see that marker anymore.
Calorie intake recommended.
Have any food?
Vital signs stabilizing.
We're gonna have to make our way back because I'm out of food. I lost all my salt, so we're gonna have to look for salt on the way back. This. Nothing I need. Nothing I need.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Right. What's that, actually? I don't know what that is. I don't honestly remember. I do now. There's nothing there of value, but I don't know about down here. That was
Calorie intake recommended.
not a smooth move. I shouldn't have dumped all the stuff right there, but that's done now. Alright, so I know I need food. I don't have any food. I was kind of hoping there was going to be a food stash there. And we have to... We're not full on that stuff yet. That's fine. Let's try to capture some of you on the way back.
Oxygen.
Goodness, I was close to the surface this time. Alright, so let's Well, let's not worry about that. Nor any of that right now. We're here. We're not going to be leaving anytime soon, so I can cook these and eat them right away. And then save my salt.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Alright, let's... Here.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Stick you in there. Take you back. You in there. Keep the salt. You. We will charge you. Alright, there we go. So we got batteries on the chargers. Can I build the grav trap? I think I can. I just gotta see what I need to build it. So battery, copper, and titanium. Alright, well, we're gonna take one of the dead batteries. I'm not using good battery for that. That's... Oh, you know, I think... Yeah, that's right. It needs to be done here. Now... I can take the grav trap. There we go. Instant food supply. And water supply. So I can have resources to stay alive a little longer. Granted, I only have one piece of salt, so I don't know how... helpful that's gonna be, but... to actually cook a little more, because I need to do that as well. Turn the other two into water. Making aerogel is pointless at this point, because I don't even know what I'd use it for right now. Alright, let's go grab those two batteries. Here. Alright. We can actually... Well... No, I want to keep you up there. I don't want you. Worried about you right now. I already got 3 breathers. The best I can do for oxygen for right now. Right, so where is it at? We're gonna take our chances and we're gonna try to make our way back to this. But it's very easy for me to, again, get lost down here. So I don't even know if this is how this is gonna go yet. It's kind of looking like it's a little better. Maybe. Where?
Seek fluid intake. Vital signs stabilizing.
So, it's that way. Thing is that I don't see. Alright. It's either going to be further down. We got an ad coming up here in about a minute, everybody. It'll be about a 3-minute ad. Just give me a moment here to refill my water, stretch, and things of that nature. And I do appreciate you sticking around and watching while I play and hanging out during the ad break as well. So this just took me back to the wrong one again. I don't know. For now, because of how close we are to the ad and everything, and the fact that I will drown if I don't come in here, we're gonna hang out in here for a moment while the ad break comes up, because I don't have the ability to keep oxygen underwater. Like, even in the pause menu, it still drains my oxygen supplies. So we're gonna give it a moment here. While we're waiting for the ad to kick up. That should be up any moment here. But I do have to step away for a moment, so I will. There it is. I will see everyone in a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out.
The yellow llama every time she makes the wrong decisions. Wait, is it a
All right. Thanks for sticking around. We are back. We're about to grab the controller when I don't need the controller for this. Because I'm not playing this with the controller. Alright. So we are gonna head out of here because I keep ending going back to this same place. So we're just gonna head out of here. And try to find what we're looking for. I don't know where it's at, and I'm directionally challenged when it comes to, you know, underwater and things of that nature for up and down, because it's not exactly the same, if that makes any sense. Actually, there's a hole. There's salt. I will definitely pick up the salt. Everything else here I've already been here. Don't need titanium. I say that now though, but the thing is that eventually, unless, you know what, I do that, I think I got it the, no, that's the right one. If I do, I'm supposed to go to the green one and I messed up. Bet you that's what it is. I changed it to the wrong one. Need to avoid those because they will fuck my shit up and kill me. That's probably what it is. I'm a genius. Oh shit. I didn't need that to happen right now. Shit. I didn't need the battery on that to die right there. I have a health kit with me. Alright. So we're gonna make our way to this one because I think my mistake was I went to the wrong one. I've already been to that one, so that's probably what happened. We can take a quick look around. I've already been here, so there's no point in me taking a quick look around here. Avoid those. Any and all costs if I can, because I don't have enough health to heal. That's okay. Those are fine. Those are about the only things so far that don't try to harm you in any way in this game. Where am I going? I just got... turned around again. I went the wrong way again. I need to go... this way. So that I don't have to navigate this waters like this in real life, because I would... no, it would not end well. Where... this point, I just think I need to get out of here and start over, because I don't... see what I'm looking for. It's fine. Let's just... try and find the surface. Because right now I just don't know where I need to go. any of you. Salt. Which I do kind of need it, but
Seek fluid intake.
I will in a minute.
Vital signs stabilizing. Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Alright. Let's just get back to it. Gave me a piece of lead. Helpful, but it's not what I needed. I mean, I need it, but I don't need it. Avoid those. I think those hurt you if you get close to them. From what I recall. Yes. Perfect. Thank you, Sea Monkey. You found what I've been looking for this entire time, and you just gave it to me. I will take that, 'cause now I can go back and I can at least build the thing that should allow me to craft the vehicle, I think. The last thing I need to do right now is die, and you know what? If I do end up dying for some thing stupid I do, I've just saved it so I don't have to hunt for that again for hours. Alright. Now I have to go see what I have where, because I don't remember what's where. Alright. Okay, so Q. Oh, well, I need to, shift some stuff around. Oh. Right, so I need 2 pieces of lead, computer chip, one of you, and one more piece of lithium, which I believe I have out. It's either out here or in one of those. Let's see. That one. Apparently it's not in that one because that one's empty. Which we're gonna fix that right now. There. Now I won't. Trying to open it. Come on. Thought I had. If I don't have one more, it's gonna be a little irritating.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Swear I thought I had one more lithium here. Unless it was I died and I lost the other one too. It's silver. Let's just fix this. Let's get rid of these. Oh, these are empty now, so what we're gonna do is drop the empty ones under there, so this way I don't have to worry about it.
Calorie intake recommended.
We'll get there in a minute. Go.
Seek fluid intake.
Again, we'll get there in a minute. Oh. Okay, well, I guess we will
Vital signs stabilizing.
do that now. So apparently, I lost the other piece of lithium somewhere, so I don't have... I need one more piece of lithium now. Again, because I don't know what happened to the one. I can't find it. Not you. So let's see here. Should have... There's one. I lost it. I don't know what happened to it. I might have died with it, and now I have nothing. Alright. We need to go stock up on food and water before I can try to venture my way back down to there. There's the graph. Could be. I put it down there? Yes, I did. Okay. Shit. Can't tell you how many times I've accidentally done that. That should do. Now I just need to see. Should have. But did I look in here for it? You. I am an idiot. Found it though. I'm an idiot. Alright. So, that being said, as long as I got this right, I should now be able to do what I want. I overlooked it in there. Let's see. It actually would be in this one. Yeah, I just overlooked it because I screwed up. That's fine. Alright, so I need 1, 2, 3 lead ingot, and I need to then find the computer chip. I know I've got the computer chip. Might be in the... I think it's in the other pod. Well, at least I have a computer chip there. That's fine. I can deal with it. Alright, now I need the ingot. And this is where the fabricator is. So let's make the ingot. Now, let's go take care of this. I don't know where it gets built because I've never built one. Does it need... How do you build it? You know what? We need to be smart and do this in here. Where's it at? I guess is the better question. Oh, okay. Alright, I get it. So I do need to build you. Alright. And I need a lubricant. Do I have... Makes lubricant again. I think it's the... It's the creep vine stuff. Alright, so we're gonna go to get some creep vine or the seeds. 'Cause I'm not sure what I think it's this. But just to be on the safe side. I've got both in case I'm wrong. One of them makes the lubricant, I just can't remember which one. So we're gonna try to...
Intake recommended. Vital signs stabilizing.
We don't have any water, so we're gonna have to, like, get moving. Make some water. Cook a little bit of the bladder fish so I can eat. And while we're at it, we'll go.
Vital signs stabilizing.
There, all right, now stash you in there for now. Let's go. Where's it at? Does it? Shouldn't get built here. I guess it does. Alright, let's go place it. And then we'll need to get a computer chip, which is fine. Why is it being... Unless it needs to actually be... Because in the past, you just let it go and it kind of did its thing. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now I need a new computer chip. I want to at least get... the... Requires copper wire, table coral. Do I have any table coral left? I do. Gold. I should be able to then make the copper wire. So then allow me to make the computer chip. That'll allow me to... There it is. So I can't do that yet. That's fine though. We'll drop this. Now, make it. Should be able to make that. Let's see. Well, let's just go see what this is real quick, because I'm just curious. Dark room. Okay. Fine. This isn't a... That's fine. That's the... You know what? Let's do that in here. Because I need to take inventory of what I need to do next. First things first. We can turn you off. We can turn you off. I can turn you on. you off because I don't need you. I need glass, which I'm not worried about. An advanced wiring kit, which means I'll need a wiring kit. And then an advanced wiring kit, I'll need a computer chip. Which with the computer chip, I'll need copper, right? And need power cell, which I can make the power cell. I'm not worried about that. Let's see if I have the stuff to make any more copper wire at least. I think I need 2 copper wire. Nah, I need silver. Which I don't have silver here, but I know where I can get silver. Alright, we're gonna get silver. My goal is I want to get the vehicle crafted real quick.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
And just in case. And then gold. I don't think I don't know if I have any coral though. If I don't have any coral, I'm gonna have to go get some. Looks like I'm gonna have to go get some coral. I know where I can get it, so that's not a huge deal. Right. So we need copper wire. Need a wiring kit. Alright, so for now, the stash that all there. Stash the gold too. Alright, so to get the coral, I need to make my way toward, I think, Beacon 4, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to get the truck done tonight. And I want to see what it looks like. Beacon 3, rather. But one of these beacons is going to have the coral stuff that I need by it. As a matter of fact, there it is right there. Thing is, I need 2 of them, and shit, I need to get the hell out of here for a minute. That gave me a second to should be, there's gotta be one more piece of coral around here somewhere. There it is, right there. Alright, we're out of here. We're gonna head back to the pod because we got everything I need for now to go ahead and make build the truck. Don't know what. Yeah, I got everything we need. I just don't know how it's gonna fully look yet. I don't know much about it at this time. Never built it. Apparently you're not.
Oxygen.
Yeah, we're not gonna make it back there, so we need to replenish my oxygen. And go back under. And it's about to die anyway, but that's another. What do I need? Oh no, I have stuff. Hold on. So I've got the copper wire, I've got the computer chip. Got the coral. Well, no, I don't have the computer chip yet. Got the wiring kit. Alright, so let's make the computer chip. Alright, then let's make the advanced wiring kit. Alright, so pro tip, unmute your mic when you're trying to talk, because I didn't even know I was muted. So I'm making the glass here. And I just need 2 batteries. And what we're going to do is we're going to get smart about this. We're going to remove the low batteries. I'll have to make sure I remember to replace that. I want make. Oh, I need silicone rubber. Okay. Got it. Alright, here comes the sea truck because I just crafted that to make that. And we're gonna drop in the water because I don't feel like freezing, and I don't know how that's gonna go. But good shit, we got the sea truck. Now how do I get in it? Do I have to... How do I get inside? Oh, okay. From the top? Yep. This is kind of cool. Shit, that was... Damn it, I'm an idiot. I went through all that to craft that and just wreck it. Alright, can I at least, no, so I just destroyed it. And I didn't save anytime soon, so that basically means I have to rebuild it. Alright, so we got the sea truck built. We're not gonna worry about the rest of it for now. We're gonna move it closer. Alright, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump in here real quick. We're gonna turn off some. We're gonna basically unpin everything because we built it, and we're gonna repin for next time. You know what? We're not even gonna repin it for now because I don't have the stuff because I messed up. Alright, so we are gonna go ahead and save the game here because I haven't saved it in a little while, and we are going to then be ending the stream for the night. Hopefully I'll be back on tomorrow around 6 p.m. Eastern without destroying my vehicles and without muting myself when I'm trying to talk. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. Hope to catch you tomorrow. Have a good night.